Hey guys, and welcome to yet another Factorio tutorial. In this tutorial we are paying a visit to the Megatrain world once again, and I'm going to be covering the main bus strategy, which is probably one of the best organizational strategies for using with building a Factorio factory. The other one will be basically a robo world and using robots to change everything. I'll cover that, to move everything rather. I'll cover that in a future episode, but considering we just covered belts, I thought it would be wise to cover the main bus as well. So, what is the main bus? The main bus is basically your transportation system that all your factory is built off of. Think of it like the artery that everything like that pumps blood throughout your factory, or resources in this case. So here you can see what we've got is we've got our furnace layouts down here, and the furnaces are bringing iron onto the belts, and they're bringing copper onto the belts. So this is actually, I would say this is the start of the main bus. I have built some stuff over here, but you don't need to look at that. So we've got copper here in a double red line because we need a bit more throughput of copper, or iron as well, so the two basic materials of the game. And then we've got some batteries up here, some green circuits there, and some plastic here. So basically, whenever we need to build something, what we do is we pop a splitter, which will take half off. And this here is the prime issue with the main bus, is that the stuff towards the start of the main bus gets priority to the stuff towards the end. So every time you split something off, you're taking a half, or in this case, because we've got two lanes, a quarter of the total manufacturing to go to that thing. So if you look here, we're taking a quarter of the copper to go up to the green circuits. Then we're taking another quarter of the 3/4 that's left to go up to this side, and then another quarter, and then it goes down and down and down and down and down until you finally get to the end of your main bus. And like, these things are getting hardly any percentage wise of the stuff that you're actually producing. So that is one of the main limitations of the main bus, I've got to admit. Oh god, I'm seeing inaccuracies and stuff that I've done that I really want to fix now. So yeah, basically that is one of the main inaccuracies, or one of the main issues rather, with the main bus, is that the stuff at the start of the main bus gets priority over the stuff at the end, and that can cause real issues in a factory. But other than that, it's one of the most efficient ways to actually build your factory. So basically with the main bus, all you want to do is you split stuff off, you pull it up and you build something, or you split stuff off, you pull it down and you build something, and then you've got these little kind of modular areas which are very easy to expand upon. So for example, if I wanted any more copper, if I wanted any more green circuits being built, I could just copy and paste this up a bit and just extend these basically veins of resources coming up the way to make me more green circuits. And that's the way that I build most of my factories, in this very modular style. So you can just grab, copy, paste, and that should got increased production of that item. So this is just a very basic overview of the main bus. They do get very complicated, as you can see down here, with different things coming and overlapping and looping and going all sorts of crazy ways in order to get stuff to where they need to be. But once you've handled the basics of making sure that you get all of your resources going down in a straight line and then stuff coming off, you can basically work from there, and that's how you can build these more advanced and ridiculous looking factories. Another thing that you might want to keep in mind when you're building your main bus is building roboports. The way that I built this main bus is it's not great, because there's no space in between for a roboport. If you want to have a logistics network, and I'll cover logistics networks and roboports in the futures, but you always want to have a logistics network going through your base because it's really helpful and really handy. But what I've begun doing is leaving 4 spaces between my copper and my iron, which is just the right size for a roboport. But another thing that you can do, which I didn't cover in the belts tutorial, is if you do want a roboport, then you can easily just shove a underground belt, which can go 5 spaces, and then with that you can just plonk roboport directly in the middle and completely connect everything to the logistics network. But that's going to do us for the main bus tutorial episode. This is basically just it was just a quick overview. I mean, the main bus, it isn't a complicated thing. It's just getting it built, making sure you use it, and splitting things off. One of the main things you don't want stupid things on your main bus. And stupid things, I mean, like, you don't want things like iron gears. Iron gears, you take iron and you make it into gears. You can easily do that on site for everything. The same with copper cables. You take copper, you make it into copper cables, and then you put it into something else. You don't want to be shipping copper cables down a massive bus and having loads of them, because they're not actually used in that many things. I mean, you can have a look. Iron gears are used a lot more, so I can see the argument for putting iron gears in the main bus. But copper cables, you use them in electronic circuits, and that's essentially it. There's red circuits that use copper cables. Everything else doesn't really use them. As you can see by just sprinting down here, there's not an awful lot of stuff using copper cables. Iron gears, yes, they do get used in a variety of things, so I can see the argument for that. Additionally, plastic. I put plastic down my main bus only so far as the red circuits, because the red circuits are all that use plastic. And then basically what happens is plastic comes in, red circuits come out and take the place on the main bus that the plastic was occupying. What I always like putting on my main bus is batteries, greens, reds, copper, iron, and steel. And that's all that goes on my main bus. But yep, that's going to do us for this episode. So as always, thanks a lot for watching. If you do have any questions or you want to add anything to the tutorial, then do post in the comments below. I've been Suji, you've been awesome, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.